5 minutes.
Thank you. As Ciancórla, I have to say this has been a most useful exchange of views on the third interim report of the Disclosure Tribunal. Indeed, I was very interested to hear what deputies have to say about it, its conclusions, indeed particularly in the light of the clamour in the House that preceded its setting up and the unedifying and unjustified pursuit of my colleague Deputy Frances Fitzgerald last November by those here who accused her of acting incorrectly and indulging in wrongdoing. So to set the record straight, Frances Fitzgerald, as Minister, acted entirely appropriately. Mr Justice Charleton could not have been clearer in his comments in that regard. I've noted, nevertheless, efforts by many people opposite to say that her departure was still necessary. I disagree fundamentally with that view, and I would again remind deputies of their obligation to reflect on words that were uttered here in the frenzied atmosphere and clamour to remove somebody from their position. Las Ciancórla, as I said earlier in the debate, the report of the Tribunal is damning. It goes to the heart of how An Garda Síochána handles allegations of wrongdoing within the organisation. We all have a responsibility to respond in an appropriate manner to the findings of the Tribunal. The House is rightly grateful to Sergeant McCabe for his steadfastness, bringing to attention the serious state of lack of application to duty, failure to follow basic and fundamental procedures. As the judge observed, his actions arose out of a legitimate drive to ensure that An Garda Síochána serves the people through hard work and diligence. In the face of much adversity, Sergeant McCabe persevered with the support of his family. Again, as I mentioned last week, I spoke with Sergeant McCabe to apologise to him on behalf of the state for his shameful treatment. I would hope to meet him shortly to offer that apology in person, having spoken to him by way of phone call. I know the Garda Commissioner has already met with Sergeant McCabe and his wife, and he correctly, and on behalf of An Garda Síochána, also apologised to Sergeant McCabe. The Independent Commission on the Future of Policing in Ireland has reported, following its root and branch analysis of policing in Ireland, its report also makes clear that transparency, governance, accountability in An Garda Síochána is fundamental. The implementation of that report will be the cornerstone of the necessary transformation in An Garda Síochána. The points made by Mr Justice Charleton will very much inform the Government's approach to its implementation. The report also points to specific problem areas within An Garda Síochána, and at the heart of these is discipline in the organisation. The judge notes that as an organisation, An Garda Síochána has an obligation to be a disciplined service. The report suggests that the Oireachtas might usefully consider a potential lacuna in the Protected Disclosures Act, an act that was mentioned by some deputies in the course of their contributions. I want to acknowledge the importance, as has been said by deputies, of the obligations which Mr Justice Charleton said should at all times underpin the work of our police service. Many of them are obvious. Many can be said to apply universally. These include an obligation to be polite, to be honest, to take pride in their work for Gardaí, pride in their uniform, and to be visible. These obligations, I know, are something that the Garda Commissioner is committed to, and I believe quite rightly so. Mr Justice Charleton also identified an obligation of self-analysis, that the command structure within An Garda Síochána must hold itself to account. In the same manner as my colleague Minister Zappone has referenced a TUSLA under her remit. So I wish to assure the House that as far as the Garda Síochána is concerned, and my working with Garda Commissioner Drew Harris and his team, I will have all these matters as referenced by Mr Justice Charleton to the fore in my proposals for the implementation of the report of the Commission on Future Policing. Finally, as Ceann Comhairle, it's only right that we acknowledge that Mr Justice Charleton also pointed out examples of diligence and professionalism, integrity within An Garda Síochána. I've attended a number of ceremonies in the Garda College, meeting new recruits, heading out to stations all across Ireland. Their enthusiasm, their thirst for public service has been striking, and we owe it to these recruits, to Sergeant Maurice McCabe and to the people of Ireland, to ensure that we deliver the planned transformation of An Garda Síochána so that it becomes a model of policing excellence by the time it reaches the celebration of its centenary in 2022.